Hi, I'm Diana, and I'm here to talk about D&D. Sometimes people ask me, how dragon happy are you? And I have to say, what, don't you know me? Of course I'm dragon happy. If you're dragon happy like I am, there's times in your game that you might want to include dragons in more of a content than just a monster to kill. So one of the things that I enjoy very much to do is a dragon impression like they did on Pern, where it's a soul-to-soul contact and the rider and the dragon are one. This is absolutely amazing fun. Not only do all the players love it and want to do it all the time and keep again, let's do that again. I have other characters, Diana, wait a minute. But it lets me go all out, and any opportunity I have to draw a bunch of dragons and interact with a bunch of dragons and role play a bunch of dragons, great with me. So I have dragon hatchings, and I thought I'd better tell you guys, this is how I do it. This is how I do it. Please feel free to enjoy. Come along, come play with me. It's fun. I have a hatching ground with eggs in it, and the eggs are the silly little plastic Easter egg type things that you get. You can buy them on Amazon if it's not Easter time, but I got a whole bin full of, oh, pretty colored ones and metallic ones and just little whatevers. Sometimes I think, oh, I should paint them, but we go so far. And one of these days I'll wind up painting them. So I have, the story in the game always goes, look, there's a dragon mating flight. Oh, I gotta draw a picture. This dragon and this dragon have mated, and then these are the eggs that they come out with, and this is what happens. They lay this many eggs, they do these many things. I have this huge box here with all of the years I have done of dragon hatchings, and some of them are really, really bad. Some of them are a hell of a lot of fun. But I like to give out stories. I like to illustrate some of the stories. I always draw the dragon parents. Well, most of the time. And then I get out my lovely little ugly pot. It is an ugly pot. I adore it. And I put rice in it. Rice. And I put Easter eggs in them. And then I set it in the middle of the gaming table. And everybody at the table are like, we know what's gonna happen. And then there's the role-playing. Oh, my character, who's my dragon lady, you know, is now looking for candidates. If she's in charge of the eggs, not all dragons put them in places where either your NPCs can mind them, take care of them. Sometimes the dragon mothers just leave them. Sometimes there's a watchful mother around. Sometimes they're like, oh no, we got this perfectly wonderful lady who does all of these things, and she protects them, and she manages to get candidates should they need a bond. Not all dragons need a bond. Some are looking for it though. So I usually have a lovely setting where it's over here and these things happen. You can always mix it up, because having a wilderness adventure where somebody crashes in to try and impress, or a big monster comes because eggs are protein, that'd be fun. And there's all sorts of fun stuff you can do depending on how you want to set up your dragon hatchings. Mine I guess they're getting boring. I should mix it up next time. Boring. Yeah, right. So I have a lovely series of stories, a lovely series of pictures that gets going on. And then there comes the hatching. And the hatching is great because I have usually a little booklet. This is the latest booklet. It's pretty fancy. I have made a casting for the front of it, and everybody gets the front. And then there's stories and there's pictures once the eggs hatch. Usually there's a few stories before the eggs hatch. And I do this for all kinds of them. At one point I made a little coin for the front, and I have drawn pictures and then a picture for the back. I got these lovely little plastic sheaths that allow me to keep everything really nicely. See, a little dragon and little, this is kind of the symbol for that hatching. And there's lots and lots of pages inside of these things. It's not just one. And everybody gets one. And in the earlier days, this is a square button that I got at a convention. I got a bunch of them, and I covered it in paper and obviously drew the colors and had them all paper covered, and then put them on just a piece of harder plastic. See, there's my dragon lady and the mother. Whoops. I get one. And this one had a little binder, and this one was fun. You're always looking for something. I decorate. I actually, in the very earliest days, this is a very old clutch. And it had wax seal. Ooh, fancy wax seal. Hatching. So as you can tell, these books are a hell of a lot of fun. And then we have the role playing where it's like, uh-oh, the dragon lady is pretty good at figuring out about when this is going to happen, and has a bunch of people that she's trained. This is what you do. This is what you're allowed to do. This is what you should not do. This is what will get you eaten. And the NPCs come in so that I have, you know, oh, there's going to be hatching today, or, oh no, it's starting now because the eggs are harder and they begin to wobble a little bit, and you can make up anything you like. I figured that they're a little like turtle eggs, except that they're not turtle eggs. They're on the top of the sands. And sometimes they move around, and you can touch them, they get harder. And sometimes little mines are looking for a bond mate, and they roam a little bit. They're not impressing before they hatch, but you can kind of feel something tugging and something going on, and everybody starts going, okay, it's just a few days, or it'll be today. And then you have a role-playing session with your players. And last time I actually had an adventure that they had to get through, and the hatching started in the middle of the adventure, and they had to finish the adventure and get home or get back to the hatching grounds because the hatching had already started without them. And I was playing, okay, so now we're going to have this encounter and you guys figure this part out, and that's really great. But meanwhile, back on the hatching grounds, there's this thing going on, and I'm generally having a blast because everybody is like, we want to get there. We don't want to be left behind. And when the eggs begin to hatch, I look at one of the players. Sometimes we establish who's going first or how are we opening things. Last time we had two players who haven't been to a lot of hatchings. They've been away for a while. Eleanor's new to it all. So I'm like, okay, let's start with the newest people. Who doesn't have a dragon? Who does not, hasn't done this before? And okay, you can start. Pick an egg to hatch, and they have the whole clutch to pick from, and they reach in and they pick the egg and then they open it. Now I don't have anything in these because I don't have a hatching on the, oh, look, there's something in the egg. So they open the egg, and inside there's a picture. This is my little fossil clutch, very unusual. And they're like, oh, and they get to look at the picture, and then they hand it to me, and I can dig out the color pictures because, of course, there are color pictures. And then we explain what happens. Usually there's a little story that I pass around to everybody so that everybody can read it. And I, as the GM, have to sit here and go, read the story, read the story, read the story. And when they're done, I go, yes, okay. And then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And usually there is the, your dragon looks into your eyes and it is love, and the dragon comes to find you, and the dragon butts his head against you and says, I am really hungry. Can I eat this guy? In which case the answer is, no, you can't. Come over here. We have fresh cows, fresh slaughter, moose, whatever they got. And we have this for you. And it's like, oh, I smell it. Oh, that smells wonderful. And then I put a pause on it. And in the case of the hatching that was going on without them, it's like, well, they're all kind of milling around. They really don't know what's going on yet. There's a lot of noise because all the other dragon riders who have characters with dragons, or all the friends, are all kind of clustered in an area, usually. It all changes depending on what's going on for that hatching. But sometimes there's even bleacher seats, and there's a big party that's planned, and those are fun too. So they get to open the egg, they get to see the egg, and then I hand out colored pictures. Here, everybody. And then there is the next guy, because something else happens. And usually there is a story where you start, you know, this egg is wobbling, or this egg cracks in this way, or something. You can make up whatever you like. Make it exciting and interesting. Have it crescendo up to something amazing. Have the NPCs doing amazing things during the course of it. Have the dragon mother, who never really abandoned the clutch in the first place, suddenly show up because she wants to know what's going to happen with her kids, or the fact that the dragon children are going to be in her territory. Now, certainly, dragons aren't like infant humans. There's a certain amount of intelligence and instinct that is going on inside. They're still pretty baby, but it's a lot more fun when you're having characters interacting and dragons coming out, and then they have to grow up, and they have to learn how to fly, and they have to be careful about, my rider is just this big, and I have grown this big since I got out of this egg, and now I can't cuddle up with them without fear of squashing them. But the role-playing aspects really appeal to me, and the dragon aspects are so much fun. And usually we wait for, well, how long does it take for a dragon to develop a breath weapon? How long is it we have, because again, I like the Pern aspects of the game. It's impression. Are you going to teleport? Are you going to between? Is there some other magic that you're using to get from place to place? Or is it just that you are magnificent and your wings will take you where you need to be and you don't need any magic? Usually I put in magic because I have a big world and we go all kinds of places. And if you're going from one end of the world to the other, it's way easier to have a dragon who's like, oh yeah, I can take you and your friends. Okay, fine. Maybe I'll get a present. Maybe I'll look at them and say, hey, I'm your dragon host. Give me a present before I take you anywhere. Dragons love presents. Dragons love hoards. You have to worry about where are you going to have the player character put your dragon. You can't just put him in the basement. You can't just say, oh, well, here's an extra spare room. You can live over there. Dragons get pretty big. You got to have a cave. You got to have a hoard. Well, maybe not a cave. You could have a castle. You got to have a space where nobody's going to take your stuff. You can guard it. And this is my stuff. You have to worry about the little dragon who doesn't understand deciding to rob nearby merchant wagons because they had money and I wanted it. And why didn't they just give it to me? I don't know. Most merchants just don't part with their money easily. So the stories and adventures that come with a dragon hatching are a lot of fun. And like I say, I've got eggs. Boop. I've got lots of pictures that I can draw. I've got lots of role-playing to do. And this usually takes, 3 or 4 sessions just to get somewhere. Because you can also entice all of your players with, when is it going to happen? Look, the clutch is right there. And, oh, is there something in this egg this time? Or, do I dare to try and open things before we get there? No, see, like I said, generally they're not stuffed until, in fact, I should probably take the little stuffings out of these guys. And then I keep a list of the dragons and I keep a list of their colors and who they like and who they don't like. And well, that's all just playing your game. Don't give low-level characters dragons because they're low-level and that gives them the ability to go lots of places, impress, A lot of people get out of a dragon's way. They should. So you don't necessarily want to give a lot of that kind of power to a low-level character. It tends to make them an immediate higher-level character, and now you're dealing with a lot of different things. Obviously, nobody impresses 2 dragons. If you lose a dragon, or if you die during the course of an adventure, your heart and your soul is torn from you. And there's a lot of agony for the other half of that soul, whether it's the dragon or the character. It's a good time for the players, and it's a good time for the GM. I highly recommend. And like you see, I go all out. If there is something to be drawn, or something to be made, or all kinds of things. And all the NPCs. This is not my main name. Well, he is one of my elder NPCs, but the dragon fell in love with him. So it's kind of his clutch. Not really. But he won't say it isn't. And I keep a big box of many, many things. I highly recommend. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of trouble you can get into people. There's a lot of saving graces that can get into people, and everybody wants to know a Dragon Rider character. Everybody wants to be a Dragon Rider character. There is some prestige involved. Hell of a lot of fun. Oh, I have to show you my shirt. Only Judy can judge me. So, good. I don't know what else to say. Have a dragon hatching. Even if you're not impressing the dragons into the characters, because I've done that, where you have an entire clutch of everybody walking around going, these guys are a little wilder, these guys aren't going to be impressionable. I warn you now. And then the players deep inside are like, me, I would like to. And if you've read the Pern books, there's Jackson, one character who is not supposed to be up for hatching, but he gets onto the hatching ground anyway, and every player wants to do that. But depending on how you're managing. Now be careful how many eggs you decide to put out for your players. In the early days when I didn't know any better, I had like 25, 20 eggs. That's like a ton of them. Ooh, and there was a lot of them that didn't impress, or I had NPCs that they impressed too. That's another nice way of, well, you might not impress, but, you know, there's NPCs here. They might have a better chance than you do. But again, a lot of that was for me and for my playing and my enjoyment. And I do enjoy that, but it's for everybody. It's for everybody at the table. So make certain that you have things for the players as well as yourself. Fill out your game with a richness. That way you can say, hey, we're clutch mates, and if we're clutch mates, maybe I can ask a favor of you. So, gosh, it's fun. Try it.